When you turn on the TV, usually it's all about bad news. And when it comes to religion, quite often we hear bad news, what supposedly religious people did in the name of religion. But the whole idea of IF20 and also the International Partnership on Religion and Sustainable Development is to talk about the good contributions of religious actors to sustainable development. 8 out of 10 people worldwide are connected to a religious tradition. It's not me saying this is like data, Pew Research Institute. So if 8 out of 10 people feel connected to a religious tradition, it is very important to tap into this potential. Religions contribute in various ways to sustainable development. They contribute to education, to peace work, to health, to environmental protection. But there was no systematic platform to really talk about the good contributions of religious actors and also to amplify the good work, to coordinate. And I think our both initiatives do this, they try to do this, and we have synergized to really showcase to the world that we need to include civil society, and that includes religious actors, to the discourse if we want to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. And I have said also in the opening welcome address that the current report, the SDG report 2024, says that we are off track. 16% of the targets have been reached only. So we need to bring all people and organizations of goodwill on board to do better. It has been discussed also in this conference, also in the panel which I was able to moderate on holistic well-being and moving from linear to circular thinking. I think the root cause of the mess we are in is rarely addressed, also in the SDGs. The main reason for the problems we have is linear thinking. The very fact that we think that only when you have economic growth you're doing the right thing is a problem in itself. We're living on one planet. Mother Earth has a lot of resources, but still there are limits to these resources. So circular thinking is something which we have not learned, neither in kindergarten, nor in the school, nor in university. There are of course exceptions, but I'm speaking about the general trend. I want more money, I want a better salary, I want 3 holidays a year, and so on. So we all know if we were to live the Western lifestyle, globally we need, scientists differ, but between 4 to 7 Earth in order to have the resources to cater that lifestyle. So the root cause is not that we don't have the technologies to solve the problems, but the root cause is that we have not the wisdom how to live a good life. The wisdom is there, let me be very clear. Every spiritual tradition tells us how to lead a good life. But we are estranged from that spirituality. We call it in our tradition in Sikhi the divine voice of the wonderful one who is the light, the source of life. And every spiritual tradition reminds us, be a guest on this planet. And it's actually not very difficult to teach young children how to be like a guest. See, you have invited me for this interview. I am behaving hopefully very nicely. I will not destroy your furniture here, not destroy your equipment. And afterwards I will say thank you very much, and then I will leave. We all will leave this life. We are just here for a very short time. We are guests. But it seems that we have forgotten our role as guests. These things need to be strengthened, and this is what religious actors, apart from the practical work, this is what faith, spiritual, religious actors need to put forward when they speak to business people, when they speak to politicians, when they speak to decision makers. In our tradition, which is a very spiritual-oriented tradition, it's wisdom-oriented. It's not about dogmas. I don't do things because there's a rule to do it, but I do it because I have the insight that it is the right thing to do. Even if no one is looking, even if I know that the universe is going to be destroyed in the next 1 minute, I know I need to do the right thing. This is what spirituality is about. I call it intuitive spirituality, intuitive ethics. It's not evoked ethics that I do the right thing because I have some STDs telling me what I need to do or some religious dogma. That is for children, that's fine. But if you are awakened, then you do the right thing because it needs to be done. Back to your question, Kaho Kabir nirtan hai soye, jahan ka hirde naam na hoye. So the wise ones, the enlightened ones say, you are not poor when you don't have much in terms of material goods. You are poor when you are lacking wisdom. Imagine this definition is part of kindergarten already. Imagine our parents taught us this definition. Then I would not chase the next job because only I want to earn $500 more. But I would find the job which provides me satisfaction and where I know this job does not come at the cost of other human beings, animals, and Mother Earth. You see, this is how wisdom works. I need to integrate it in my life. And that's actually the foundational basis of everything I do also in the context of sustainable development. Of course, it needs translation. I mean, the language, the thinking of politicians usually is very different. The structures they are working on and in are very different. So again, I think the expectation would be wrong that people who are spiritual and very wise say the right thing and then it's implemented. If that were to be the case, the world would be very different because, as I said before, it's not that the people don't know about the wisdom. Everyone also here in that conference is saying, oh, we have a very rich tradition, we know about it, we are the custodians of the earth and so on. We keep saying these things all the time, but there's this gap which you are very rightly referring to. So I think, first of all, the world of religion needs to unite much more than we are at the moment. Spirituality is about overcoming boundaries. Everything that creates boundaries from our perspective is not divine. Everything that unites us is divine. So I think it is our responsibility to showcase to politicians and decision makers, see, this is what religious actors did, and that was the good outcome. It needs to be very practical. If we are responsible for trouble, why would I take religious actors seriously? Why would I consider them bringing on board when I need to solve a conflict? Why would I then invite them to be mediators in a conflict? And I said in my opening remarks too, we have over 100 armed conflict worldwide. So it's a long-term goal, but what I'm speaking about is a shift, a paradigm shift in education, and that needs generations. And I'm speaking of changing our attitude. Who hinders me personally or you to change your lifestyle? You don't need any politician, any policies to change your lifestyle. If you have the insight, if I have the insight, okay, it's okay to have a smaller car. It's okay to only go to vacation twice a year and not 3 times a year. It's okay, it's even good for my body if I go to work, if possible, by bicycle. We can do little things. But then, of course, at a collective level, we need to do other things. The colleagues were talking about a global tax for super rich people. So there are a lot of mechanisms that are important, but it's important that they follow the change in our hearts. I give you another example. We talk a lot about the pollution and the climate crisis, also in this conference. And rightly it has been pointed out that we don't have a climate crisis. The climate doesn't have a crisis. It's a human crisis. It's a crisis of values, of having the wrong values. And in our tradition, we always look at the root cause of something. And that helps me to understand also environmental destruction and the change we are causing to the climate. The inner pollution causes the outer pollution. The outer pollution is only the manifestation of the inner pollution. So the art of spiritual wisdom is to help us to purify ourselves. We call it, we take a bath in wisdom within our heart. This is the pilgrim of spiritual people. We don't need to go anywhere, because everything that we need to live a good life, all the wisdom is inside us, but we have forgotten to listen carefully inside. It's like the ocean. The ocean is there, but if I go away from the ocean, I don't hear the sound of the ocean anymore. But that does not mean that the ocean is not there. I'm a drop, and I'm part of that ocean. So we are one family. And also politicians, I think, have the responsibility to emphasize this. Besides their responsibility for their nation, they have a global responsibility to say, yes, we have different cultures, we have different languages, we have different climates, different ways of dressing, but ultimately, we are human beings. So when we leave that body, we leave it in the same way as we have come to this world. First of all, it means that regardless of the background of a person, that person deserves dignity. In everyday life, in our professional context, in politics, it doesn't matter. I have no right to take away the dignity of another human being. Who has given me that right? If we are at the same level, if we are one spiritual family, I don't have more rights than you have. So that's actually the basis. This is what needs to be strengthened in constitutions, but of course, as I said before, in education. So leaving no one behind is actually enabling every human being to live up the potential that has been given to us by nature. I invite every one of you who are listening to this to join the path of goodwill. It's not that difficult. We are not asking for very big sacrifices. We are just saying, slow down, let the algorithms be algorithms, connect to nature, listen to your inner voice, use the little time you have to spread love, compassion, solidarity, and do everything that makes people happy and avoid everything that creates tension.